I was standing in my childhood bedroom, packing the last of my art supplies into a cardboard box, when my mom walked in with that look on her face. The one that always made my stomach drop. "You're really doing this?" she asked, arms crossed. "Throwing your life away for some silly dream?" I didn't answer. I just kept packing. "Stop dreaming and get a real job, Sarah. You're 23 years old. This art thing? It's embarrassing." Those words hit me like a slap. But it was what she said next that I'll never forget. "You're going to end up homeless and alone, and don't come crying to me when you do." My hands froze on a paintbrush. I looked up at her, standing in the doorway of the room where I'd spent countless nights drawing, painting, creating. The room where she used to tell me I was talented, back when I was just a kid and it didn't matter yet. My dad stood behind her, silent as always. He wouldn't even look at me. "Mom, I got into the design program. It's a real opportunity." "It's a waste of time," she cut me off. "Your cousin Jennifer has a real job, at a bank, with benefits, with a future. What do you have? Colored pencils?" The worst part wasn't the words. It was the way she looked at me. Like I was already a failure. Like I'd already disappointed her beyond repair. I closed the box, taped it shut, and without another word, I walked past her, past my silent father, and out of that house. That was 3 years ago. I didn't know it then, but that moment would change everything. The first 6 months in the city were hell. I lived in a closet-sized apartment with 2 roommates I found on Craigslist. One of them stole my food. The other never showered. But it was mine. My space, my choice. I worked 3 jobs while taking classes. Coffee shop mornings, retail afternoons, and freelance design work until 3 a.m. My hands were always stained with either coffee grounds or paint. I survived on ramen in spite. My mom called once during that time. "So, how's the starving artist life treating you?" Her voice dripped with sarcasm. "Ready to come home yet? I told your father you'd be back by Christmas." "I'm doing fine, Mom." "Fine?" She laughed. It wasn't a kind laugh. "Sarah, stop being stubborn. There's a position opening at Jennifer's bank. I already talked to her manager. You could start next month. Real salary. Real benefits. Real life." I looked around my tiny apartment. At my secondhand desk covered in client work. At the wall where I'd pinned my first paid commission, a logo design for a local bakery. $200. It felt like 2 million. "I said I'm fine, Mom." Silence. Then, "You're making a mistake." "Don't say I didn't warn you." She hung up. I didn't hear from her again for 8 months. No birthday call. No holiday text. Nothing. It was like I died the moment I chose myself over her plan for my life. But here's what she didn't know. I was building something. Every rejection, every all-nighter, every single moment of doubt, I was using it all as fuel. My portfolio grew. My client list expanded. And then, one Tuesday morning, I got an email that made my hands shake. A major tech company wanted to interview me for a senior design position. The salary? 6 figures. I stared at that number for 20 minutes, unable to breathe. I got the job. 3 rounds of interviews, a design challenge that took me 48 hours, and one final presentation where I nearly threw up from nerves. But I got it. 26 years old, senior creative designer, salary that made my coffee shop manager wage look like pocket change. The first person I wanted to call was my mom. Isn't that pathetic? After everything, some broken part of me still craved her approval. I didn't call. Instead, I moved into a real apartment. 1 bedroom, big windows, space for a proper studio. I bought an actual bed frame, hired a moving company instead of begging friends with trucks. I was making it. Really making it. 6 months into the new job, I got promoted to lead designer. My work was being featured in campaigns seen by millions. My designs were on billboards in Times Square. That's when my phone rang. Mom, after almost 2 years of silence. "Hi, sweetie." Her voice was syrupy sweet, like nothing had ever happened. "How are you? Your aunt mentioned she saw you posted something about a new job?" My jaw clenched. "Yeah, I'm a lead designer now." "Oh, that's nice. Listen, I'm actually calling because, well, things have been tight lately." Your father's hours got cut and the mortgage payment went up and you need money. Pause. Well, we could use some help. Just temporarily. Maybe a few hundred? I know you're doing your little art thing, but my little art thing pays me $140,000 a year, Mom. Dead silence on the other end. What? You heard me. More silence. Then, Sarah, if you're exaggerating to make yourself feel better. I laughed. Actually laughed. I'm not. Want to see my tax return? She didn't know what to say. For the first time in my entire life, my mother had no words. I sent her $2,000. Not because she deserved it. Because I'm not her. But I didn't hear thank you. I heard, well, it's about time you helped out this family. That phone call lasted 4 minutes. 4 minutes of her explaining how hard things had been, how they'd struggled, how the utilities were piling up. Not once did she mention the last thing she'd said to me. Not once did she acknowledge that she'd called me an embarrassment and predicted my failure. I let it go. Sent the money. Went back to my life. 3 months later, she called again. Then again. Then again. Each time a new crisis. Car repairs. Medical bills. Property taxes. Always urgent. Always desperate. And every single time I helped. But here's what started eating at me. She never asked how I was doing. Never asked about my work. Never said she was proud. It was like I'd become an ATM with her daughter's phone number. Then came Thanksgiving. My cousin Jennifer, the one with the real job, was hosting dinner. Mom insisted I come. It would mean so much to the family to see you, she said. Everyone wants to know how you're doing. I should have known better. But some stupid, hopeful part of me thought maybe things would be different. Maybe she'd finally see me. I drove 6 hours to get there. Walked in with the expensive bottle of wine and homemade dessert. The house was full of relatives I hadn't seen in years. Mom was in the kitchen with Jennifer and my aunts. I heard my name before I even turned the corner. She got lucky, that's all, Mom was saying. These tech companies hire anyone these days. It's not like she actually worked for it. My entire body went cold. Jennifer laughed. At least she can afford to help out now, right? That's something. I stood frozen in the doorway, wine bottle in my shaking hands, listening to my own mother erase every sacrifice I'd made. I didn't walk into that kitchen. I couldn't. My legs wouldn't move. Instead, I turned around, walked straight out the front door, got in my car, and sat there in the driveway. My hands were gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. The passenger door suddenly opened. My grandmother slid into the seat. She was 82, sharp as a knife, and didn't take crap from anyone. I heard what she said, Grandma said quietly. I'm sorry, sweetheart. She hasn't changed at all. My voice cracked. I've sent her over $15,000 this year, Grandma. $15,000. And she's in there telling everyone I got lucky? Grandma reached over and squeezed my hand. Your mother is scared. Scared? Of what? Of being wrong about you. Of admitting she almost destroyed your dream because she was too afraid to let you chase it. Grandma's eyes were sad but honest. Some parents can't handle watching their children outgrow them. She sees your success, and all she feels is shame for doubting you. So she minimizes it, makes it smaller, makes it luck instead of talent. I wiped my eyes. I keep waiting for her to be proud of me. I know, baby. But you can't wait forever for something she might never give you. We sat in silence for a moment. Then Grandma said something that changed everything. Did you know your mother's been telling the church community that you're a big fancy designer? Shows them your work on her phone. Brags about you when you're not around to hear it. I stared at her. What? She's proud, Sarah. She just doesn't know how to say it to your face. Because saying it means admitting she was cruel. And your mother has never been good at apologies. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Where did you go? Dinner's ready. Like nothing had happened. Like I hadn't just heard her diminish everything I'd built. I didn't respond to her text. I sat in that car with Grandma for another 10 minutes, trying to decide if I should just drive away and never look back. But Grandma had other plans. Come back inside, she said firmly. Don't let her take this moment from you too. You've earned your seat at that table, sweetheart. Don't you dare run. So I went back in, walked straight to the dining room, sat down. My mom's eyes flickered with confusion when she saw me, but she didn't say anything. Dinner was awkward. Everyone talked around me, not to me. Jennifer dominated the conversation, talking about her promotion to assistant branch manager. My aunt's fawned over her like she'd discovered the cure for cancer. Jennifer's doing so well, Aunt Carol gushed. A real career woman, stable, secure. Mom nodded enthusiastically. That's what I always wanted for Sarah, something solid. But, well, she trailed off with a tight smile, letting the implication hang in the air. I took a sip of water. Stayed quiet. Let her dig. Then my Uncle Tom, who'd had too much wine, looked at me. So Sarah, what exactly do you do again? Your mom said something about computers? I'm a lead creative designer for Tesla. The table went silent. Forks stopped midair. Jennifer's smile froze on her face. Uncle Tom blinked. Tesla? Like Elon Musk Tesla? That's the one! Mom's face went pale. You never asked, Mom. My voice was calm. Deadly calm. You've called me 6 times in the past year. Every single call was asking for money. Not once did you ask about my job, my life, anything. Jennifer tried to recover. Well, that's nice, Sarah, but corporate jobs can be unstable. At least banking is... I make 3 times what you make, Jennifer. I looked right at her. And I love what I do. Can you say the same? Her face turned red. The silence that followed was deafening. You could have heard a pin drop on that expensive tablecloth Jennifer had bragged about earlier. My mom's hand trembled as she set down her wine glass. Sarah, that's incredibly rude. Rude? I turned to face her fully. What's rude is telling your daughter she's going to end up homeless. What's rude is ignoring her for 2 years until you need money. What's rude is standing in a kitchen trash-talking the person who's been paying your mortgage. Aunt Carol gasped. Paying the mortgage? Mom's eyes went wide. Sarah, don't... Why not, Mom? Aren't you proud? Shouldn't everyone know that your daughter, the one with the embarrassing little art thing, has sent you over $15,000 this year? I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app. Want to see the transfers? December 15th, 2000. January 23rd, 1800. March 2nd. That's enough! Mom stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. But Grandma's voice cut through like a blade. Sit down, Rebecca. Everyone froze. When Grandma used that tone, you listened. Mom sat. Grandma looked around the table, her eyes sharp. You all want to know what's really going on? Rebecca told this girl she was a failure. Told her not to come crawling back when she failed. And when Sarah succeeded, beyond any of your wildest dreams, Rebecca couldn't handle it. So she made herself the victim. Took Sarah's money and gave nothing back. Not even a thank you. Mom, that's not... My mother started. I heard you in that kitchen, Rebecca. I heard every word. Jennifer had gone quiet. Uncle Tom was staring at his plate. The other relatives looked uncomfortable, like they wanted to disappear. Then my phone rang. My boss, on Thanksgiving. I answered. Hey, Marcus. Sarah? Sorry to bother you, but I need to tell you something that can't wait until Monday. I stepped away from the table. Phone pressed to my ear, walking into Jennifer's pristine living room while everyone watched. We just got the Q4 numbers, Marcus said, excitement bubbling in his voice. Your campaign exceeded every projection. We're talking a 42% increase in engagement. The executive team is floored, Sarah. Floored. My heart was pounding. That's incredible. Incredible? It's career-making, which is why I'm calling. They want you in the C-suite. VP of Creative Design. Full benefits package, stock options, and a salary of $275,000. I nearly dropped the phone. Sarah? You there? I'm here. Marcus, are you serious? Dead serious. They want an answer by Monday, but between you and me? This is your job if you want it. You've earned it. 26 years old and you're about to be the youngest VP in company history. I looked back toward the dining room. At my mom, sitting there with her face red, surrounded by the family she'd tried to impress at my expense. at Jennifer, who'd spent years being held up as the golden child with her real job. "I want it," I said. "Tell them yes. Fantastic. We'll talk details Monday. Enjoy your holiday, VP." I hung up and walked back to the table. Every eye was on me. "Who was that?" Mom asked quietly, her voice small now. "My boss." I sat down, picked up my fork like nothing had happened. "I just got promoted to vice president." Jennifer's fork clattered onto her plate. Uncle Tom whistled low. "VP at 26? 26, I confirmed. Then I looked at my mom. Really looked at her. "You were right about one thing, Mom. I did need to stop dreaming." Her face showed a flicker of vindication. I needed to stop dreaming and start doing. So that's what I did. Every single day for 3 years while you pretended I didn't exist. My mom's face crumbled. For the first time since I'd arrived, she looked actually vulnerable. Small. Like she was realizing what she'd lost while she was too busy being right. "Sarah, she started, but the words seemed to catch in her throat. "You what, Mom?" I leaned forward. "You're sorry? You're proud? Which one is it? Because 3 years ago, you told me I was going to end up homeless and alone. You told me not to come crying to you, so I didn't. I didn't cry. I didn't call. I didn't ask for a single thing. I built my entire career with 0 support from you." Tears were streaming down her face now. I was scared. I was scared you'd fail and I'd have to watch you struggle. So you made sure I'd struggle alone. My voice shook with 3 years of buried pain. "Do you know how many nights I went to bed hungry because I was saving money for software subscriptions? Do you know how many times I almost quit because I had no one telling me I could do it? I was 23 years old, Mom. I was your daughter. And you threw me away because I didn't want to work at a bank." Jennifer had tears in her eyes, too. "Sarah, I didn't know." "Of course you didn't know, because she held you up as the example of what I should be. The real job. The real success." I looked at Jennifer, and my anger softened because none of this was really her fault. "I'm not mad at you, Jen. You didn't do anything wrong. But Mom used you as a weapon against me for years." Grandma reached over and put her hand on mine. "Tell them the rest, sweetheart. Tell them what you decided on the drive here." I took a deep breath. This was the part I'd been dreading. The part that would either free me or break me. "I'm done sending money." I looked directly at my mom. "Not because I can't afford it. Not because I don't love you. But because this relationship has been one-sided for too long. You wanted an ATM, not a daughter. And I can't keep funding a relationship where I'm only valued for my wallet." Mom's hands were shaking. "Sarah, please. I know I messed up. I know I said terrible things. But I'm your mother. Then act like it." My voice cracked. "Act like you care about me beyond what I can provide. Ask me about my life, my dreams, my struggles. See me as a person, not a paycheck or a disappointment." Uncle Tom cleared his throat. "Rebecca, the girl has a point." Aunt Carol nodded slowly. "You have been hard on her." Mom looked around the table, seeing that even her own siblings weren't on her side. She turned back to me, mascara running down her cheeks. "What do you want from me?" she whispered. "I want you to mean it when you apologize. Not just say words because you're embarrassed in front of everyone." I stood up from the table. "I'm leaving now. When you're ready to have a real conversation, not about money, not about your bills, but about us, you know where to find me." I grabbed my coat. Grandma stood up too. "I'm going with Sarah," Grandma announced. "I didn't drive 6 hours to watch my granddaughter be disrespected at Thanksgiving." As we walked toward the door, my mom's voice stopped us. "Sarah, wait." I turned around. She was standing now, wiping her face, looking more broken than I'd ever seen her. "You're right. About everything. I was cruel. I was jealous. I was scared that if you succeeded without me, it meant you didn't need me anymore. And I couldn't handle that. I always needed you, Mom. I just needed you to believe in me." The room was dead silent except for the sound of my mother crying. "Can you forgive me?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw not the villain of my story, but a flawed human being who'd let her own fears nearly destroy her daughter's dreams. I don't know yet, I said honestly. But maybe we can start over. Slowly. If you're willing to actually try. She nodded, unable to speak. Grandma squeezed my shoulder. That's my girl. As we walked out to my car, leaving behind the mess of that Thanksgiving dinner, I felt something I hadn't felt in 3 years. Hope. Not hope that everything would magically be fixed, but hope that maybe, just maybe, my mother and I could find our way back to each other. But first she had to earn it. And I had to learn that success wasn't just about proving people wrong. Sometimes it was about proving yourself right. 6 months passed after that Thanksgiving. 6 months of silence that felt different this time. Not the cold, punishing silence of before, but a necessary space. A healing gap. I threw myself into my new role as VP, led a team of 30 designers, traveled to conferences, got featured in Forbes' 30 Under 30 list. My face was on the cover of a design magazine. The girl who was told to get a real job was now being interviewed about the future of creative industries. Then on a random Tuesday in May, my mom texted, "Can we talk? Really talk? I'm ready if you are." We met at a coffee shop halfway between our cities. Neutral ground. She looked older somehow, tired, but there was something different in her eyes. Something softer. "I've been seeing a therapist," she said, hands wrapped around her mug. "Since Thanksgiving, trying to understand why I did what I did to you." I didn't respond, just listened. I was living through you. All my failed dreams, everything I didn't have the courage to chase, I projected it all onto you. And when you had the courage I never had, her voice broke. I resented you for it. I know how sick that sounds. What kind of mother resents her daughter's bravery? A human one, I said quietly. A scared one. She looked up at me, surprised. I thought you'd hate me forever. I thought I would too. I took a breath. But hating you was exhausting, Mom. And I realized something. I didn't build my success to prove you wrong. I built it to prove myself right. That I could trust my own voice, my own vision. And once I understood that, your opinion stopped having so much power over me. She wiped her eyes. I'm so proud of you, Sarah. I know I never said it when it mattered. But I'm saying it now. You're extraordinary. What you've accomplished, it's beyond anything I could have imagined. And I'm sorry I tried to make you small when you were always meant to be magnificent. Those were the words I'd been waiting 3 years to hear. But here's what surprised me. They didn't fix everything. They didn't erase the pain or the years of silence. But they were a start. A real start. I'm not sending you money anymore, I said firmly. Not because I'm punishing you, but because we need to rebuild our relationship on something other than transactions. She nodded. Your father got a new job. Better pay. We're going to be okay. I don't need your money, Sarah. I never really did. I think I was testing you. Seeing if you'd help me after everything. Seeing if you still loved me. That's manipulative, Mom. I know it is. And I'm working on it. On all of it. She reached across the table, hesitant. Can I hold your hand? I let her. Her hand was warm, familiar. The same hand that used to hold mine when I was little, before dreams became dangerous, before success became a threat. I can't promise I'll trust you right away, I told her. You hurt me deeply, and that doesn't just disappear because you apologized. I understand. I'll earn it back, however long it takes. We talked for 3 hours that day. Really talked. She asked about my work and actually listened. Asked about my life, my friends, my dreams for the future. She told me about her own abandoned dreams. She'd wanted to be a writer once. Gave it up because her mother told her it wasn't practical. Generational trauma. Generational fear. The cycle she'd passed down to me without even realizing it. But I'd broken that cycle. By refusing to let her fear become my ceiling. As we left the coffee shop, she hugged me. That Forbes article? I have 5 copies. Showed everyone at church. At the grocery store. I even showed my dentist. I laughed despite myself. You're ridiculous. I'm your mom. It's my job. She pulled back, looking at me seriously. I'm going to do better. I promise. I'm going to hold you to that. A year later, things aren't perfect. We still have hard conversations. She still sometimes says things that sting. I still have to set boundaries. But she's trying. Really trying? She came to my apartment, saw my studio, cried over my design awards displayed on the wall. And last month, she sent me something that made me cry. A framed drawing I'd made when I was 7. A crayon sketch of a girl with paintbrushes, standing in front of a city skyline. At the bottom, in my childhood handwriting, "When I grow up, I'm going to be an artist." She'd kept it all these years. Her note said, "You told me who you were going to be when you were 7 years old. I'm sorry it took me so long to listen, but I'm listening now. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I always will be." Mom! I keep that drawing in my office now, right next to my VP nameplate. A reminder that the little girl with crayons and big dreams was right all along. She didn't need permission to be extraordinary. She just needed to believe in herself when no one else would. And sometimes, that's enough. Sometimes that's everything.